"You picked the wrong black woman to harass today," General Victoria Taylor said, her voice steady and unshaken, even as Officer Brennan twisted her arm behind her back. The metal cuffs snapped shut around her wrists, biting deep enough to draw blood. Captain Thornton loomed over her, his face twisted with contempt. "Talking back to an officer? That's how people like you end up with problems." She memorized every detail, his badge number, the name on his tag, the mole above his left eyebrow. "Check her for weapons," Thornton ordered. Brennan's hands jabbed roughly into her ribs during the search. He found her wallet, keys, and phone and tossed them into an evidence bag without care. "Something funny?" Thornton demanded when he noticed her eerily calm expression. Taylor said nothing. They completely missed the secure military communicator hidden in the lining of her jacket. "Get her in the car," Thornton barked. "A night in holding should fix that attitude." They shoved her head down and forced her into the cruiser. They had no idea who they had just arrested. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead in the processing room, which reeked of sweat and harsh cleaning chemicals. Taylor stood perfectly still for her mugshot, her posture dignified despite the humiliation. The camera clicked. "Name?" the booking officer asked without looking up. "Victoria Taylor." "Address?" She gave her Maple Avenue address. The officer paused, eyes narrowing. "That's in Westfield Heights." His tone shifted the moment he recognized the predominantly black neighborhood. Taylor pressed her thumb against the fingerprint scanner, black ink staining her skin. Behind her, Officers Thornton and Brennan laughed loudly by the water cooler. "Another one from that neighborhood thinking she's special," Brennan said, his voice carrying. "Acting like the checkpoint doesn't apply to her." "Had to put her in her place," Thornton replied. "These people need to learn." Taylor memorized every word, every inflection, every face watching her. "Phone call?" she asked. The booking officer pointed to the wall phone. "One call, make it count." Taylor dialed a number from memory, not her lawyer, not family. "Operations Center, Pentagon," a crisp voice answered. "Authorization code Tango Delta 794. She spoke clearly. "Initiating protocol Oversight Delta, location transmitting." A moment of silence followed. "Confirmed. General Taylor, response team deploying." Taylor hung up just as Councilman Reginald Cole stormed into the station, his expensive suit and championship ring gleaming under the harsh lights. "Another troublemaker?" Cole demanded, peering through the glass at Taylor. Thornton nodded. "Just processing her now, sir." "Good," Cole said. "These checkpoint resistors need consequences. The program is too important." Taylor was escorted to a holding cell. The door clanged shut with heavy finality. She sat on the metal bench, back straight, face composed. She knew that soon everything would change. Earlier that evening, sunset had painted the sky in brilliant oranges and deep pinks over Westfield Heights. General Victoria Taylor drove her modest sedan through familiar streets as the neighborhood gradually gave way to the wealthier, whiter suburbs of Greenfield. Blue lights flashed ahead. Police cruisers blocked the road at a checkpoint. Taylor slowed, her window already rolling down. She had done nothing wrong. This should have taken seconds. Officer Brennan approached, flashlight beam sweeping across her face. "License and registration." Taylor reached slowly for her glove compartment. "May I ask what this checkpoint is for, officer?" Brennan stiffened. "Just routine ID now." She handed over her driver's license. Brennan studied it, the light lingering on her address. "Westfield Heights resident," he said into his radio, requesting additional verification. Taylor caught the deliberate emphasis he placed on her neighborhood. "Is there a problem with my identification, officer?" "Wait here." Brennan walked back to the cruiser. Through her rearview mirror, Taylor watched him show her license to another officer. They looked at her car and laughed. Captain Thornton emerged from the command vehicle. Brennan pointed. Thornton nodded and approached with deliberate slowness. "Step out of the vehicle, ma'am," he said, formality stripped of any respect. "May I ask why? My license is valid." "Step out now." Thornton's hand rested on his holster. "We're implementing enhanced search protocol." Taylor knew her rights. Enhanced search requires reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. "What's your suspicion, Captain?" Thornton's face hardened. "Out of the car." Taylor complied, movements deliberate. "I'd like to note that this appears to be selective enforcement." "We decide what's selective," Thornton replied coldly. "Hands on the hood." "I decline consent to search my vehicle without probable cause," Taylor stated calmly. "Look at the lawyer here," Brennan mocked, stepping closer. "Thinks she knows the law." Taylor stood her ground. "I'm familiar with my Fourth Amendment rights." Thornton moved closer. "Your kind always want to make things difficult." "My kind?" Taylor raised an eyebrow. "Troublemakers," Thornton clarified, though the meaning hung heavy and unmistakable in the air. Other drivers watched from their cars, some recording with phones. Thornton noticed and gestured to Officer Ramirez. "Clear these vehicles through, no recordings." Taylor observed Ramirez approaching the cars, ordering people to put their phones away. She committed every face, every badge number, every license plate to memory. "Last chance," Thornton said. "Consent to search or face obstruction charges." "I respectfully decline and request a supervisor," Taylor answered, voice steady and professional. "I am the supervisor," Thornton signaled Brennan. "Detain her." Brennan grabbed Taylor's arm and twisted it behind her back. Pain shot through her shoulder. "Stop resisting," he shouted, though she was not resisting. "I'm not resisting," Taylor said clearly, creating an audio record. "I'm complying under protest." Thornton stepped closer. "You don't tell us how to do our jobs." Taylor noticed Brennan's body camera. The red recording light blinked off. "Your body camera appears to be malfunctioning, Officer Brennan," she noted. "Mind your own business," Brennan snapped, tightening his grip. Taylor's military training surged. She could have disabled both men in seconds. But that was not why she was here, not tonight's mission. "I'll be filing a formal complaint," she said instead. Thornton laughed. "Good luck with that. Councilman Cole personally oversees checkpoint operations. Your complaint goes straight to his trash can." Taylor's watch pressed against her wrist. The military communicator captured every word, every admission. Evidence gathering continued. "Search the car," Thornton ordered. "Sir, without a warrant," Taylor began. "We have checkpoint authority under city ordinance," Thornton interrupted, "signed by the council last month." Taylor knew the ordinance. She knew its constitutional flaws. She knew exactly who had pushed it through. "Find anything?" Thornton called. "Clean, sir." Thornton looked disappointed. "Check under the seats. These Westfield people always hiding something." Taylor's fingers discreetly pressed a button on her watch. The GPS tracker activated. Pentagon systems now monitored her location in real time. "Nothing, sir," the officer reported. "Well, you're still interfering with a lawful checkpoint," Thornton said. "That's obstruction." "Citing constitutional protections is not obstruction," Taylor countered. "And now arguing with an officer." Thornton nodded to Brennan. "Cuff her." The metal cuffs bit into her wrists as Brennan secured them too tightly, deliberately causing pain. "Victoria Taylor, you're under arrest for obstruction of justice and resisting a lawful checkpoint inspection," Thornton recited, satisfaction in his voice. Taylor noticed a young woman in a nearby car recording discreetly. Their eyes met. Taylor gave an imperceptible nod. "You have the right to remain silent," Thornton continued. "I'm aware of my Miranda rights, Captain," Taylor interrupted. "I assume you're transporting me to the Greenfield station." Thornton paused, thrown by her composure. "That's right. I'll need my phone call when we arrive." "You'll get what we decide to give you," Brennan said, shoving her toward the cruiser. As they led her away, Taylor glanced at the checkpoint. Officer Ramirez was turning away another Westfield Heights resident for additional screening while 3 cars with white drivers passed through without stopping. The pattern was clear. Evidence was accumulating. Brennan pushed her head down and forced her into the back seat. "Officer Brennan, badge number 4572, Taylor stated for the recording. "That use of force is unnecessary and excessive." "Shut up," Brennan snapped, slamming the door. Through the window, Taylor watched Thornton gesturing toward Westfield Heights and laughing with another officer. The cruiser pulled away. Taylor sat calmly in the back, mentally reviewing the Pentagon protocol she had activated. The situation was proceeding exactly as anticipated. The interrogation room at Greenfield Station smelled of stale coffee and floor cleaner. A single overhead light cast harsh shadows. The metal table was bolted to the floor. Taylor sat straight-backed in the uncomfortable chair, handcuffs still tight. Captain Thornton entered carrying a thin folder and Taylor's confiscated belongings. He dropped them on the table. "Comfortable?" His smile never reached his eyes. Taylor did not respond. The less she said, the more they revealed. Thornton opened the folder. "Victoria Taylor, Westfield Heights address, no priors." He looked up. "First time being educated about checkpoint compliance?" "I'd like to speak with an attorney." "Soon enough," Thornton said, circling the table. "We're just having a conversation first." "I invoke my right to counsel," Taylor replied, voice level and precise. Thornton ignored her. "See, we have a problem in this town. People who don't respect authority. People who think rules don't apply to them." He leaned against the wall. "Checkpoints keep Greenfield safe. Some folks don't like being checked. Those folks usually have something to hide." Taylor remained silent. Her military training included resistance to interrogation. Thornton's amateur tactics would not break even a first-year cadet. "Nothing to say?" Thornton flipped through her wallet. "Interesting ID you've got here." He pulled out her military ID and snorted. "Marine Corps General, 4 stars, nice fake, adding impersonating military personnel to your charges." "That identification is authentic," Taylor said. "Right," Thornton laughed, "and I'm the Secretary of Defense." His phone buzzed. He checked the screen and nodded. "Our concerned citizen is here. Someone wants to meet the latest checkpoint troublemaker." Taylor's photographic memory cataloged every procedural violation, every failed Miranda compliance, every civil rights infringement. Thornton left. Through the thin walls, Taylor heard a new voice, authoritative and impatient. Another one from that neighborhood. It had to be Councilman Reginald Cole. "Yes, sir," Thornton responded. "Gave us the usual constitutional speech. Had a fake military ID, too." "Military?" Cole sounded interested. What branch?" "Marines. Claims to be a general." Thornton's laugh carried through the wall. "Get what you need and process her," Cole said. "Make an example. These checkpoint resistors are undermining the whole program." Taylor felt Cole watching through the one-way glass. The door opened again. Thornton returned with Brennan. "Let's try again." Thornton slapped a form on the table. Sign this confession to obstruction. Take a misdemeanor charge and you'll be out by morning. Taylor studied the document without touching it. I'll need my attorney present before signing anything. Brennan stepped forward. Captain asked you nicely. And I respectfully declined, Taylor replied. Thornton nodded to Brennan, who moved behind her chair. Presence meant to intimidate. You people from Westfield Heights think you're special, Thornton said. Think the rules don't apply, but Councilman Cole's checkpoint program has cut crime in Greenfield by 30%. By targeting specific neighborhoods? Taylor asked. Thornton's expression hardened. By enforcing the law where it needs enforcing. Selective enforcement isn't legal enforcement, Taylor said. Brennan placed heavy hands on her shoulders. You should listen to the captain. Taylor did not react. I believe this interview is over until my counsel arrives. Thornton collected her belongings, intentionally dropping her military ID on the floor. He stepped on it as he walked around the table. This little military costume doesn't impress me, he sneered. Though I admire the attention to detail. 4 stars, ambitious fake. He tossed the ID back onto the table. Brennan increased pressure on her shoulders. We've got all night. Plenty of time for you to reconsider that signature. A sharp knock interrupted. The door opened. Detective Elias Vargas stood in the doorway, expression shifting from professional to confused. Captain, Vargas said carefully, a moment outside. Thornton hesitated, then nodded to Brennan. Watch her. The door closed. Through the wall, Taylor heard urgent whispers growing heated. Someone knocked urgently. The door opened. Vargas entered, followed by an agitated Thornton. Officer Brennan, you're needed at the front desk, Vargas said. Brennan looked to Thornton, who nodded reluctantly. Brennan left. Vargas approached the table and picked up Taylor's military ID, examining it closely. Captain, this ID has proper security features. The holographic seal, microprinting, UV watermarks, all authentic military issue. Thornton scoffed. It's a good fake. No, sir. Vargas placed the ID gently on the table. I served before joining the department. This is genuine. Thornton's confidence wavered. So she stole a military ID. Add it to the charges. Taylor watched the dynamic. Vargas represented something rare. Integrity inside a corrupted system. Ma'am, Vargas addressed her directly. May I ask your name and rank? General Victoria Taylor, United States Marine Corps. Vargas straightened instinctively. And what brings you to Greenfield, General? Vargas asked. Before she could answer, Thornton interrupted. Detective, she's being processed for obstruction and checkpoint evasion. Her occupation is irrelevant. Sir, if she's active military, we have jurisdictional protocols to follow, Vargas countered. I'm handling this case, Thornton snapped. Captain, department policy requires verification of military credentials, Vargas persisted. Section 14 of our procedural manual specifically states, I know the manual, Thornton cut in, then you know we're already in violation of proper procedure. Vargas did not back down. No attorney present despite request. Continued questioning after rights invocation. Extended detention without processing. Thornton's jaw tightened. Detective, remember your place. My place is ensuring department procedures are followed, Vargas replied evenly. He turned back to the ID, examining the rank insignia. His eyes widened. Sir, he whispered, these are 4 stars. So 4 stars is the highest rank in the Marine Corps, Thornton said. Vargas looked at Taylor with new understanding. There are only a handful in the entire military. Thornton's confidence cracked further. It's still a fake. The door swung open. Councilman Reginald Cole entered without knocking, tailored suit and signet ring projecting authority. Captain, what's the delay? Cole demanded. I thought this was routine processing. His eyes fell on Taylor. He assessed her with practiced political calculation. Councilman Cole, Vargas said, we have a situation. This woman appears to be a high-ranking military officer. Cole scoffed. Based on what? Military identification consistent with the Marine Corps General, Vargas explained. We need to verify through proper channels before proceeding. Detective, isn't it? Cole checked Vargas's nameplate. Your concern for procedure is noted. Now let the captain handle this. Vargas stood his ground. Sir, with respect, if we've detained a military general improperly, the department faces serious repercussions. If, Cole emphasized. He turned to Thornton. Captain, handle the paperwork and process her. Detective Vargas, you're needed elsewhere. Sir, Vargas protested. Standard protocol requires... Standard protocol is what I say it is, Cole interrupted. The checkpoint program operates under special city ordinance, my ordinance. Taylor watched Vargas carefully. She saw the moment his professional ethics confronted political reality. Councilman, Vargas said carefully, may I at least verify her identity through military channels? A simple phone call. Cole studied him. You're new to Greenfield, aren't you, detective? Transferred 6 months ago, sir. Then let me explain how things work here. Cole stepped closer. The checkpoint program is essential to Greenfield's safety and property values. Occasional complaints are expected. They're handled quietly and quickly. By violating rights? Vargas asked. Cole's smile turned cold. By maintaining order. Don't overthink your role, detective. The phone on the wall suddenly rang. All 3 turned. Thornton answered. Captain Thornton. He listened, frowning. What kind of call? His expression shifted to confusion. From where? His face paled slightly. He hung up. What is it? Cole demanded. Front desk has received calls asking about a General Taylor, Thornton said slowly. From whom? Cole asked. Thornton swallowed. The Pentagon. The room fell silent. Cole and Thornton exchanged glances. Probably her friends playing games, Cole dismissed. Captain, finish processing. And sir, Thornton interrupted, they mentioned her by name and rank. They knew she was here. Cole turned to Taylor, reassessing. Vargas's eyes widened at the 4 stars. Sir, do you realize who we've arrested? Cole silenced him with a gesture. Captain, verify this properly now. Thornton exited quickly. Cole studied Taylor with new caution. If you are military, you should understand the importance of security checkpoints. I understand constitutional rights, Taylor replied, and selective enforcement. Cole's political smile returned. General, if that's what you are, surely we can resolve this misunderstanding amicably. The phone rang again. Thornton answered outside. His voice carried. Yes, sir. Yes, she's here. No, sir. I understand, sir. Cole watched the door with growing concern. Thornton returned, visibly shaken. That was Colonel Montgomery from the Pentagon Military Police. They've confirmed her identity. Excellent, Cole recovered quickly. Then release the general immediately with our apologies for the misunderstanding. There's more, Thornton said quietly. They're sending representatives here now. Cole's mask slipped. What representatives? A military investigation unit, Thornton said. They specifically mentioned your checkpoint program, sir. Cole turned to Taylor. Understanding dawned. This was no coincidence. Taylor met his gaze steadily. The station's front desk phones began ringing persistently. Multiple lines lit up. Cole moved to the door and closed it firmly. His composure cracked further. What exactly is happening here? He demanded. Taylor remained silent. Her mission did not require explanation. Thornton's radio crackled. Captain, we have multiple incoming calls, Pentagon, DOJ, Governor's Office. Handle it, Cole snapped. Sir, Thornton responded, they're specifically asking about General Taylor. Vargas moved closer to Taylor. Would you like those handcuffs removed, General? He asked quietly. Cole glared. Detective, step back. Sir, she's been confirmed as a military general, Vargas argued. Continuing to detain her is... My decision, Cole interrupted. He pointed at Taylor. Whatever game you're playing ends now. This isn't a game, Councilman, Taylor said. It's an investigation. Investigation? Cole laughed, uncertainty edging his voice. Into what? Systematic civil rights violations through discriminatory checkpoint practices, Taylor stated, targeting minority neighborhoods, violating Fourth Amendment protections, implementing quotas based on race and district. Cole's face hardened. Ridiculous accusations. Documented accusations, Taylor corrected. Thornton's radio crackled again. Captain, military vehicles approaching the station. Cole's calculations shifted to self-preservation. He turned to Thornton. Release her now. Claim miscommunication. Blame the officers who made the arrest. Thornton hesitated. Sir, Brennan followed your checkpoint protocols exactly. Then blame the protocols, Cole hissed. Just contain this. Vargas stepped forward, removed a small key, and unlocked Taylor's handcuffs. My apologies, General, he said formally. Cole watched with alarm. Detective, prepare the necessary paperwork for the General's immediate release. Vargas nodded but did not move. Now, Detective, Cole insisted. In a moment, sir. Vargas turned to Taylor. General, may I ask what happens next? Taylor rubbed her wrist where the cuffs had bitten in. Justice happens next, Detective Vargas. Cole laughed nervously. A simple misunderstanding doesn't require such dramatics. Months of documented civil rights violations isn't a misunderstanding, Taylor replied. Vargas looked between them. Months? Taylor nodded. The Pentagon has been monitoring Greenfield's checkpoint program since its implementation, gathering evidence, building a case, and now that case is complete. Thornton's radio crackled once more. Captain, 3 black SUVs have entered the parking lot, military personnel disembarking. Cole moved to the door. I need to make some calls. Your calls won't help, Councilman, Taylor said. This investigation has federal oversight. Cole's hand froze on the doorknob. The political mask shattered completely. Vargas stepped closer and discreetly slid a USB drive across the table. Internal Affairs has been looking into the checkpoint program, he whispered, but we kept hitting roadblocks. Administrative obstruction. Evidence of direct interference? Taylor asked quietly. Vargas nodded. Everything I could gather. Checkpoint locations, arrest demographics, internal communications. It's time, General, he whispered. The door swung open. Colonel Montgomery entered in full dress uniform, followed by 2 MPs. The Silver Eagle insignia marked his rank. General Taylor, he saluted crisply. Colonel, Taylor returned the salute. Thank you for the prompt response. Of course, ma'am. Montgomery turned to the others. I'm Colonel Montgomery, Pentagon Investigative Services. These are my associates. Cole stepped forward, smile reinstated. Councilman Reginald Cole, Greenfield City Council, this has been an unfortunate misunderstanding. Sir, Montgomery interrupted, please remain in the station. My team will have questions for you shortly. Cole's smile faltered. Questions? I assure you I had no knowledge of the General's improper detention. Noted, Montgomery said without inflection. He turned to Thornton. Captain, secure this room for the general's use. We'll need your main conference room for our team. Thornton hesitated. Colonel, this is a police station. You don't have jurisdiction. I have direct authorization from the Secretary of Defense. Montgomery cut him off. Your cooperation is not optional. The station filled with activity. Military personnel set up equipment. Computer specialists accessed systems. Evidence collection teams secured records. Cole watched with growing alarm. This response seems excessive for a simple detention issue. This isn't about my detention, Councilman, Taylor said, straightening her clothes. It's about what my detention represents. She turned to Montgomery. Status report. Teams deployed as ordered, General. Evidence preservation protocols in effect. Pentagon liaison briefing the governor now. Cole attempted to leave. 2 MPs directed him back. This is outrageous, he protested. I have rights. Yes, Taylor agreed. Everyone does. That's precisely the point. Taylor and Montgomery moved to the conference room, now a command center. Digital displays showed checkpoint locations throughout Greenfield, strategically positioned between Westfield Heights and the wealthy neighborhoods. Vargas followed with case files. General, I've brought the internal documentation you requested. Thank you, Detective. Your assistance is invaluable. Cole and Thornton were escorted in and seated apart. Brennan joined them, confusion plain on his face. Taylor stood at the head of the table. The room fell silent. Gentlemen, she began. The Pentagon received multiple complaints about a police checkpoint program targeting minority neighborhoods in Greenfield. Initial review suggested Fourth Amendment violations. Further investigation revealed something more disturbing. She activated the main display. A map appeared with red dots clustered exclusively in minority neighborhoods. Selective enforcement, Taylor continued. Checkpoint stops resulting in searches, 89% minority drivers. Arrests from those stops, 94% minority citizens. Thornton shifted. Crime statistics justify deployment. Traffic violations occur at equal rates across demographics, Taylor interrupted, yet your program produced these results. She changed the display. Internal emails appeared. Captain Thornton, this is your message to officers. Focus on vehicles from Westfield Heights. Higher yield for arrests. Thornton paled. That's taken out of context. Context is provided by your arrest quotas, Taylor replied, displaying another document, specifically targeting Westfield Heights residents. Cole interrupted. General, these operational details were handled by the police department. As councilman, I merely approved the program concept. Is that so? Taylor nodded to Montgomery, who displayed a new document. Cole's signature appeared at the bottom of detailed checkpoint operating procedures. This directive specifies targeting specific neighborhoods, Taylor noted. Your signature authorizes racial profiling. Cole's facade cracked completely, but this is a witch hunt. This is accountability, Taylor corrected. She turned to Vargas. Detective, please share what you found during your internal investigation. Vargas stepped forward. I noticed troubling patterns in checkpoint arrests. When I raised concerns through proper channels, I was reassigned. I continued documenting discrepancies. He opened his file. Checkpoint officers were instructed to use different standards based on drivers' race and residence. Westfield Heights vehicles received heightened scrutiny regardless of driving behavior. Thornton interrupted. That's not... Your body cam footage contradicts you, Captain, Taylor said. She played a video. Thornton appeared instructing officers. Remember, Westfield cars get the full treatment. Make the stop stick. Cole stood abruptly. I need to contact my attorney. You'll have that opportunity, Taylor assured him, after we complete this interview. She slid a folder across the table. These are just from the last several months. Thornton's face drained of color as he opened it. The investigation continued through the night. Military personnel processed evidence. Technical teams analyzed servers. Legal advisors documented violations. In a quiet corner, Taylor found Vargas reviewing files. Detective, she said, your assistance has been crucial. Vargas looked up, exhaustion etched on his face. I should have done more sooner. You did what you could within a corrupt system, Taylor said. That takes courage. Vargas closed the file. When I transferred to Greenfield, I had no idea. The checkpoint program was already established, presented as innovative community policing. When did you realize the truth? Taylor asked. Vargas hesitated, pain flashing across his features. My brother came to visit. He was stopped at a checkpoint, detained for hours. No charges, just intimidation. He stared at his hands. He's a pediatric surgeon, drives a nice car, but they only saw a black man in the wrong neighborhood. Taylor nodded. I filed complaints, used proper channels, evidence disappeared, witnesses changed statements, the system protected itself. That's why I'm here, Taylor said. Sometimes the system needs external pressure to change. Why you specifically? Vargas asked. Why did the Pentagon send a 4-star general for a local police investigation? Because some issues transcend jurisdiction, Taylor explained. Civil rights violations impact national security, erode public trust, undermine the Constitution we're all sworn to protect. Vargas absorbed this. What happens to the officers? To Cole? Justice, Taylor said simply, due process, the same rights they denied others, and the people they wrongfully arrested, the lives they damaged. Part of the remedy includes case reviews, expungements, compensation. She met his eyes. Your brother's case will be among them. Vargas wiped his eyes quickly. This isn't just about today, is it, General? No, she answered. It's about every day before this and every day that comes after. Vargas straightened. What's our next step? Evidence compilation, Taylor said. Your testimony will be crucial before the federal grand jury. I'm ready, Vargas affirmed. For the first time since her arrest, Taylor smiled. I know. Dawn broke over Greenfield Police Station, the parking lot filled with government vehicles. FBI agents joined military investigators. Justice Department attorneys arrived with subpoenas. Inside the conference room, the atmosphere shifted from investigation to prosecution. Evidence boards covered the walls. Computer screens displayed data analyses. Legal teams prepared documents. Captain Thornton sat alone. Cole's attorney had arrived hours earlier, whispering urgent advice that went ignored. Colonel Montgomery entered with a new team. General, the Secretary of Defense sends his regards. The investigation has been elevated to Joint Task Force status. Taylor nodded. Excellent. Let's proceed with the full briefing. The room filled with senior officials, military, federal, state. The governor's representative sat near the Attorney General's deputy. Taylor took position at the head of the table. The room fell silent. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, what started as a civil rights monitoring operation has revealed systematic constitutional violations and abuse of power. Today I present comprehensive evidence in 3 categories: visual documentation, audio recordings, and written records. She activated the main display. First, visual evidence. Dash cam footage appeared. A vehicle from Westfield Heights stopped at a checkpoint. The driver, professional and polite, was ordered from the car without cause. A search was conducted without consent. When he questioned the legality, he was arrested for obstruction. This pattern repeats across hundreds of documented stops, Taylor explained. She showed split-screen footage. White drivers passed through with cursory checks. Black drivers from Westfield Heights faced extended detention, searches, and frequent arrests. Checkpoint camera systems captured clear racial disparities in enforcement, Taylor continued. White drivers were stopped at 8% frequency, black drivers at 82%. Cole interrupted. Selective editing can create false patterns. These are your department's unaltered recordings, Councilman, Taylor replied. Complete timestamps intact. She displayed a heat map of checkpoint placements. Checkpoints were exclusively positioned to intercept residents leaving minority neighborhoods, particularly Westfield Heights. Thornton shifted. Strategic deployment based on traffic patterns. Which was contradicted by your own traffic study, Taylor interrupted, displaying the document recommending different locations. She moved to a new screen. Second category, audio evidence. Taylor activated an audio file. Thornton's voice filled the room. Councilman wants more arrests from Westfield. Make it happen. Officer Brennan responded, even without cause? Thornton, find cause. Broken tail light. Failure to signal. Get them out of the car. You'll find something. Cole stood. That recording could be anyone. Voice pattern analysis confirms Captain Thornton and Officer Brennan, Taylor replied, recorded during official briefings. She played another recording, Cole's voice now. The checkpoint program serves 2 purposes. Public safety is what we tell the press. Property values is why we're really doing it. Keep the element where it belongs, in Westfield, not in our neighborhoods. Cole sank back into his chair. My military communicator recorded our entire interaction, Taylor explained, including unguarded comments when you thought I couldn't hear. The federal officials exchanged glances. The evidence mounted beyond dispute. Finally, Taylor continued, documentary evidence. The screen displayed internal emails, text messages, and official memoranda. Thornton to officers, use checkpoint quota system as discussed. Cole wants numbers up in Westfield demographic. Department statistics appeared. Arrest rates by race, search rates by neighborhood, conviction outcomes by demographic. The data revealed unmistakable discriminatory patterns. Checkpoint stops led to arrests for black drivers at 7 times the rate of white drivers for identical violations, Taylor explained. She displayed arrest reports side by side. Same violation, different races, different outcomes. But the most damning evidence comes from the program's origin, Taylor said. She revealed city planning documents, property developer communications with Cole, and financial records. Councilman Cole received substantial contributions from developers looking to revitalize Westfield Heights, Taylor explained. Their development strategy required displacing current residents. Checkpoint harassment was designed to pressure Westfield residents to leave, drive property values down, and position developers to purchase at depressed prices. Civil rights violations driven by financial motivation, Taylor concluded. Cole's attorney whispered urgently. Cole ignored him. This is fabricated, a politically motivated attack. The evidence speaks for itself, Taylor replied. And now the final piece. She nodded to Vargas, who connected his USB drive. Detective Vargas conducted his own internal investigation, Taylor explained, documenting checkpoint operations from within. Vargas stood. I collected evidence of quotas targeting specific neighborhoods, documented systematic civil rights violations, and recorded instructions to ignore constitutional protections. His files appeared on screen. Officer performance reviews tied to Westfield Heights arrest numbers, checkpoint schedules targeting black churches, community centers, and businesses. Most critically, Vargas continued, I discovered that complaints about checkpoint practices were systematically buried. He displayed the evidence. Complaint forms marked resolved without investigation, witness statements altered, video evidence deleted. When residents attempted to use proper channels for redress, Vargas explained, the system was designed to silence them. The room fell silent as officials reviewed the overwhelming evidence. This operation wasn't about my personal detention, Taylor explained. I volunteered to test the system directly after months of intelligence gathering. My experience matched exactly what our investigation predicted. She turned to Cole. Your checkpoint program violated the Fourth Amendment, targeted citizens by race, and obstructed justice when challenged. The Justice Department official stood. We've seen enough. This evidence supports federal civil rights charges. Cole looked around desperately. This is a misunderstanding. The program had legitimate public safety goals. The evidence contradicts that claim, Taylor responded. Cole made one last attempt. General Taylor intentionally provoked officers. Entrapment. I simply drove through a public checkpoint, Taylor replied calmly. My rights were violated because of who I am and where I live, exactly like hundreds of other citizens. She displayed the final document. This is the classified Pentagon investigation authorization signed by the Secretary of Defense, launched after multiple military personnel reported discriminatory treatment at your checkpoints. The reality finally hit Cole. He turned to his attorney in panic. The investigation is complete, Taylor announced. Federal prosecutors will now determine specific charges. FBI agents approached Thornton, Brennan, and other implicated officers. Justice Department officials surrounded Cole. Reginald Cole, you're under federal investigation for civil rights violations, abuse of power, and obstruction of justice, the lead federal prosecutor announced. Cole stood abruptly. I need to make a statement to the press. Control the narrative. He moved toward the door. Military police stood ready. Capitol Hill. A congressional hearing room filled with observers, press, and officials. General Victoria Taylor sat at the witness table in full dress uniform. 4 stars gleamed on her shoulders. Medals and ribbons testified to decades of service. The committee chairperson called the session to order. This hearing on civil rights enforcement and local policing will now begin. General Taylor, thank you for your testimony today. Taylor adjusted her microphone. Thank you for the opportunity to address this committee. Please summarize the Pentagon's investigation into the Greenfield checkpoint program, the chairperson requested. The Department of Defense received multiple complaints from military personnel subjected to discriminatory treatment at police checkpoints in Greenfield, Taylor began. Initial investigation revealed a pattern of constitutional violations, specifically targeting minority neighborhoods. She presented the evidence methodically, the discriminatory checkpoint placements, the racial disparities in enforcement, the financial motivations behind the program. Our investigation confirmed systematic Fourth Amendment violations, Taylor continued. Citizens were detained, searched, and arrested without probable cause. When they attempted to assert their rights, they faced increased charges. A committee member interrupted. Why did this require Pentagon involvement rather than the Justice Department? The initial complaints came from military personnel, Taylor explained. However, we quickly discovered that civilians faced identical treatment. We coordinated with Justice Department officials to ensure comprehensive investigation. Taylor displayed the checkpoint map. The program strategically isolated the predominantly black community of Westfield Heights. Residents faced constant harassment when traveling to work, school, or shopping. The evidence unfolded on screen: arrest statistics by race, search rates by neighborhood, conviction patterns showing clear discrimination. Most concerning, Taylor continued, was that the program operated with explicit city approval. Councilman Cole personally directed police to target specific demographics. Another committee member leaned forward. And the current status of those involved? Councilman Cole faces federal civil rights charges, Taylor reported. Captain Thornton and 5 officers have been indicted. The checkpoint program has been permanently terminated. She paused. Most importantly, all convictions stemming from unconstitutional checkpoints are under review for expungement. The chairperson nodded. General, your decision to personally test the checkpoint system was unconventional. What motivated this approach? Sometimes systems only reveal their true nature through direct experience, Taylor explained. As a black woman and a military officer, I was uniquely positioned to document the disparity between how citizens should be treated and how they were actually treated. A supportive committee member spoke. I'd like to recognize Detective Elias Vargas, whose internal investigation provided crucial evidence. Detective, please stand. Vargas rose from the audience. The room applauded his courage. Detective Vargas risked his career to document these violations, Taylor acknowledged. His ethical commitment represents the best of law enforcement. The chairperson turned serious. What changes do you recommend to prevent similar abuses nationwide? First, independent oversight of checkpoint operations, Taylor suggested. Second, mandatory data collection on stops by demographic. Third, clear consequences for departments showing discriminatory patterns. She looked directly at the committee. Most importantly, we must recognize that constitutional rights aren't optional. They don't depend on race, neighborhood, or economic status. The hearing continued with questions and testimony. Taylor provided detailed responses, always returning to the core principle of equal protection under law. As the session concluded, the chairperson made an announcement. Based on this investigation, we're introducing legislation establishing federal standards for checkpoint operations. The Equitable Enforcement Act will require transparency, accountability, and constitutional compliance. Outside the hearing room, Taylor met with Vargas. The committee was impressed with your evidence, she told him. The FBI has offered you a position with their Civil Rights Division. Vargas smiled. I've accepted. Change sometimes requires working from the inside. And your brother? Taylor asked. His record has been expunged, Vargas confirmed. He's helping organize the class action lawsuit for other checkpoint victims. Taylor nodded approvingly. Justice works slowly, but it does work when good people insist upon it. A community center in Westfield Heights. Residents gathered for a town hall meeting with their new police chief. Taylor, now in civilian clothes, sat quietly in the back. She watched as Vargas, now a community liaison, facilitated dialogue between residents and police. The new chief announced reform policies, body cameras always activated, stop data publicly available, community oversight board with real authority. After the meeting, an elderly resident approached Taylor. You're the general, aren't you, the one who brought down those checkpoints? Taylor smiled. I just helped expose the truth. You did more than that, the woman said. My grandson was arrested at one of those checkpoints, lost his scholarship because of it. Now his record's cleared and he's back in college. I'm glad to hear that, Taylor responded. One thing I don't understand, the woman continued. You're a general. You could have used your rank from the beginning. Why go through the arrest? Because most people can't use rank or privilege to protect their rights, Taylor explained. The system should work equally for everyone, not just those with status. The woman nodded thoughtfully. My grandson wants to be a lawyer now, says somebody needs to know the law to protect the community. He's right, Taylor agreed. Knowing your rights is the first step to defending them. Outside, Vargas waited to drive Taylor to the airport. Returning to the Pentagon? He asked. Yes, Taylor confirmed, but our civil rights oversight won't end with Greenfield. This case established a template for identifying similar patterns nationwide. The checkpoint is gone, Vargas observed as they drove past its former location, but the work continues. Taylor looked out at families walking freely, residents no longer afraid of arbitrary enforcement. This is what security actually looks like, she said. Not checkpoints and harassment, just people living their lives with dignity and equal protection under the law. The committee chairman's gavel sounded. This hearing is concluded, but our work has just begun. General Taylor stepped into the sunlight outside the Capitol building. Pentagon conference room. General Taylor stood before a wall of monitors displaying checkpoint data from cities nationwide. Colonel Montgomery entered with fresh reports. Implementation of the new oversight protocols is proceeding as scheduled, General. 17 departments have voluntarily reformed checkpoint practices. And the resistors? Taylor asked. Justice Department has opened investigations into 9 jurisdictions showing similar patterns to Greenfield. Taylor studied the data. Red flags highlighted familiar patterns. Checkpoints concentrated around minority neighborhoods, disparate enforcement statistics, complaint suppression. The Greenfield model is proving effective, Montgomery noted, identifying indicators of systemic discrimination before they become entrenched. Taylor nodded. And our military personnel reports down 63%? Confirmed, Montgomery said. The warning system works. Service members report potential civil rights issues directly to our office now. Taylor's secure phone chimed. A text from Vargas. Cole sentenced today. 5 years. Federal restitution ordered for checkpoint victims. Justice delayed but delivered. Her assistant entered. General, your next appointment is here. A young black woman in Air Force uniform entered. Lieutenant Jasmine Williams, recently detained at a checkpoint outside Maxwell Air Force Base. Lieutenant, Taylor greeted her. Thank you for reporting your experience. Williams saluted crisply. I wasn't sure if it warranted attention until I heard about your Greenfield operation. Every data point matters, Taylor assured her. Your report matches others from that jurisdiction. Williams straightened. What happens now, ma'am? Now, Taylor explained, we follow the evidence, document the pattern, ensure constitutional protections apply equally to everyone. She moved to the window, looking out at the Pentagon courtyard where service members from all backgrounds served a common mission. The uniform doesn't protect us from discrimination, Taylor told Williams, but it does give us the responsibility to uphold the Constitution for ourselves and for every citizen. Williams nodded in understanding. That's why I reported it, not just for me. Exactly, Taylor agreed. Systems only change when good people recognize injustice and take action. She returned to the data displays and the work that continued. No checkpoints, Taylor said. No double standards, just equal justice under law. The map of America glowed on the screen before her. Each indicator represented work to be done, communities waiting for fairness, rights requiring protection. General Taylor got back to work. Did that story grab your attention? Hit that like button right now to support more hard-hitting justice thrillers like this one. PAP Stories delivers powerful voice-only narratives that keep you engaged. Whether you're commuting, working out, or just relaxing, our signature storytelling style brings you into intense moments of injustice and the satisfying path to accountability. Subscribe to never miss our weekly uploads featuring gripping justice thrillers, stories of ordinary people facing extraordinary challenges, powerful narratives with unexpected twists, and premium voice-only content perfect for multitasking. Turn on notifications so you'll know immediately when we drop our next story. Your support helps us create more content that matters. Justice speaks volumes.